Workout number 3 this week is going to be a 10 to 15 minute, as many quality rounds as possible, okay? So you're gonna choose between 10 and 15 minutes. So I would suggest doing maybe about a 10-minute warm-up before this, get things loosened up, scan that body for any parts that are stiff, tight, sore, all right? Get some good blood flow going throughout your body, get your heart rate up, maybe get a light sweat going, be a little bit slightly out of breath before you get going with this 10 to 15 minute, as many quality rounds as possible. All right, you're gonna do 4 movements, as many times through as you can do it, all right? All the rounds, all the movements are gonna be between 6 and 10 reps for each movement, okay? That's gonna be up to you. Try to keep it consistent, all right? Don't start off with 10 and then drop to 6 right away if you're too fatigued, all right? So maybe keep it somewhere in the middle. It's gonna depend on your experience, your level of endurance, and maybe what size bell or what weight you're using, all right? So be realistic, because 10 minutes might feel like a long time, or 15, or somewhere in between there might feel like a long time, longer than you think, all right? So set a marker, set a point in time, set a timer, and do your best to try to get through as many quality rounds as possible. The key word there being quality, all right? Do not rush through your reps. Do not try to just get sloppy and move through and shorten that range of motion, all right? You want full range of motion, good quality controlled reps all the way through. That's the most important part, and take your rest as you wish throughout, all right? Don't try to plow through the first round or two and then you're so fatigued you can't get through the rest, all right? Again, be realistic about how it's going to feel, and you're going to be obviously fatiguing as you go. So keep that in mind for the later few minutes. Really take your time, focus on your breathing, and focus on those controlled reps, all right? First movement is going to be a hip hinge, and you're going to grab the bell with one hand or one arm at a time. That's going to be your choice of stance, all right? So you can go a wider type, a sumo stance, a narrower stance, all right? A split stance, 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, all right? Or you're going to be grabbing the bell with one hand, all right? Remembering to plant our feet into the floor. We're going to keep our back nice and flat, our spine neutral, all right? And we're going to mostly focus on hinging at the hips with a slight bend of the knee, all right? Just bringing that bell straight up, nice and controlled, making sure you're switching sides. And you can switch your stance for each round, that's all right. Second movement is going to be an around the world and a squat, or just a goblet squat, all right? So for the around the world, into a squat, you're going to bring the bell around your body, pull it across, grab the bell with this other hand that you're not using. So you're going to stop that bell, and then you're going to do a squat. So you're going to bring the bell around your body, stop the bell, grab the bell with this opposite hand, and then go into a squat. Nice and controlled, bring it around. So you're going to be holding the bell with one hand on the handle, one hand on the bottom. Nice and controlled again. If you don't want to try that, just do a normal goblet squat. Hold the bell either by the horns in a front rack position, or by the meat in the front rack position, but focusing on full range of motion, really trying to get those hips low, keeping that trunk mostly vertical, stabilizing and controlling with those glutes. All right, so one of those two options, around the world into a squat or just a squat. Third movement is going to be a curl and or pullover. So you can choose just a bicep curl, bringing that bell from arms extended, hinging at the elbows, bringing that bell up to your chest and squeezing at the top. You can add this into a pullover, so pulling that bell over your head, behind your head, and then bringing it back around. making sure you're stabilizing with that core. That trunk should stay nice and upright. So you can do both movements together, or you can do just a pullover, where that bell is starting right at the top of your chest here, arms bent, bringing that bell with bent arms around the head in a controlled movement, just over the head, behind the head, and in front of the head. All right, so it's your choice how you want to do that, whether it's a curl, combination curl and pullover, or just a pullover. And the last movement is going to be your choice of two movements. You can do a kettlebell swing or a hip thrust. All right, so for the swing to me is going to be a little more challenging, a little bit more advanced, because there's kind of a lot to it, but you want to focus on hinging at the hips. Okay, it's a ballistic movement, so you're working power coming through the hips or from the hips, planting those feet in a nice stance, just like you would on a normal hinge or a squat. All right, thinking about that tripod foot, base of the big toe, base of the small toe, and the heel. Weight spread evenly throughout both feet on those 3 points. All right, next thing you want to do is you want to put that bell a little bit out in front of your body, a foot or two, maybe depending on how long your arms are. So first thing you want to do is get into a hinge position. So you're hinging at the hips, slight bend of the knee. All right, and you want to start to lean that bell, or tip that bell, or tilt that bell, the handles toward your body. All right, you want to activate or engage those lats, so these side muscles here, and keep it nice and tight. So you're going to bring that bell, you're going to hike it through your legs like you're hiking a football, and then as it starts to come back around, you're going to power through the hips and power the bell up. So the power and momentum is coming from the hips, and the arms and the bell follow that. All right, keeping it tight. So as you come up, you're breathing out, you're exhaling, and you're trying to think about standing straight up. So flexing those thighs, tightening up in the core, thinking about that head straight up, the top of your head pointing straight to the sky, just like you're going to jump if you were going to jump really high, straight up. All right, so you're going to grab that bell with two hands, nice balanced position with your legs, your feet, activate those lats. All right, so you start to try to pull, think about pulling the bell toward your body, hiking it through your legs, and then coming up. All right, keeping, of course, that spine neutral, that back flat. It's up to you if you want to keep those arms straighter or bend at the arms. Bend at the elbows, hinging and coming back up. You can even add some more arm movement in there if you want. Get it almost like an upright row with that bell. The bottom of the bell should be pointing basically straight forward. All right, you want to try to get that bell to at least belly button height or a little higher. That's all right. Do your best with that and be careful with that. And if you're trying it for the first time, try a lighter bell. All right, it's going to be a little safer. Making sure you're breathing throughout. So as you're coming up, exhale, inhale. All right, make sure you're powering up, momentum coming from the hips, bell and arms following that movement, that momentum. All right, second option would be the hip thrust. So hip thrust, you're going to lay on the floor, back flat. You're going to grab that bell, put it right at your hips. Legs are bent, feet under your knees as best you can. So that upper back stays planted onto the floor, those shoulders. You're just pressing the bell up. So pressing those hips up as high as you can. Really squeezing the glutes here and stabilizing with that lower back. And you can even hold at the top of the movement here for a little more activation, a little bit more work. But controlling, so powering up, controlling going back down. Doing your best to get those hips nice and high. All right, again, 10 to 15 minutes. You set the timer. Everything is going to be between 6 and 10 reps, and you're doing